Perhaps my favorite part about being a farmer is that I get a fresh start every spring, a new slate, that I get to leave the past problems behind of the previous years, and I get to move forward and see what the soil will produce for a harvest again this year. And this year has posed an interesting challenge for our canola crops on our farm because we have so many different stages of development in the plants. How will the harvest be ready at one time? And it made me think about the harvest that Jesus spoke of so many different times and in so many different ways. One way he spoke about it was in Luke chapter 10. He said, "The harvest is great, but the workers are few. So pray to the Lord who is in charge of the harvest. Ask him to send more workers into his fields." What I love about this passage is that God is in charge of the harvest. So any worrying that I do over these canola crops will not do any good. God is in charge of the harvest. But what about the people that are all at different stages of development? Do you remember the parable where Jesus said to leave the wheat and the tares grow together so we don't disrupt the good plants while they are growing, and in doing away with the weeds and the tares? Well, this year, I wonder what will happen to the smaller, good canola plants. Even though the weed pressure is not strong, what will happen to the smaller, good plants that have plants that are so far ahead of them in growth and maturity? I have plants that are already over 2 feet tall and in full flower, and I have some plants that haven't even shown a stem on them yet, and to start the development of a flower out of that stem. So what will happen? Will the larger, more mature plants overshadow and protect the younger plants as they grow and develop and fill in the spaces where they belong? Or will they overtake the other plants and outshine them, so to speak, and cause the others to just wither and die off? What will the harvest be comprised of? The hope that I have, and because I know that God is in charge of the harvest, the hope that I truly have is that this harvest will level out and we can have an even harvest in the end. And I don't know how, but God knows how. And I pray that we all as God's people will work together to allow Him do the work that only He can do in developing the harvest, to help one another. In Jesus' name.